firings were not politically motivated. They were
but on Sampson's list of who should stay and who should go, the politics was not hard to spot. Recommended retaining strong U.S. attorneys who have exhibited loyalty to the President and Attorney General. Recommended removing weak U.S. attorneys who have chafed against administration initiatives. But strength was no guarantee of immunity against politics. David Iglesias was rated strong, but Republicans complained he was not pursuing alleged Democratic voter fraud quickly enough before the 2006 election.
And he said, "Are these going to be filed before November?" And I said, "I didn't think so." And to which he replied, "I'm very sorry to hear that." And then the line went dead.
Soon, Iglesias' job went dead. He was fired. Dan Bogdan was targeted because he was unwilling to take good cases. Terrorism cases? Organized crime cases?
They said he wasn't paying enough attention on obscenity cases. No one ever talked to him and said, "Hey, we think you need to put a little more priorities on this."
Carol Lam was rated weak for not prioritizing immigration, but Sampson called her a real problem right now, just as she was expanding her successful prosecution of Congressman Duke Cunningham to target other Republicans. Replacements, too, were chosen for openly political reasons. And when there was no Republican senator in a fired U.S. attorney's state, those replacements were nominated not by lawmakers, but by the president's leading political friends or by the White House itself. White House wants this guy for New Mexico, Sampson wrote. DOJ also tried to circumvent the checks and balances intended to insulate the process from politics, such as the public and Congress, so the firings were carried out quietly to reduce chatter. Only Republicans were told, or where there is no Republican home state senator, the home state Bush political lead. If anyone asked who was behind it, Sampson told everyone to lie and say, not any specific person at the White House or the Department of Justice. To shut out Congress, Sampson suggested, we should have DOJ take over entirely. We can give far less deference to home state senators and do it at less political cost to the White House. Politics drove one case from beginning to end. U.S. Attorney Bud Cummins told flat out he had to go to make room for Karl Rove's former assistant, Tim Griffin.
We now have strong reason to believe that despite the earlier protestations to the contrary, Karl Rove and political operatives at the White House and for the Republican Party played a role, along with those in the White House counsel's office.
Sampson, hiring Griffin was important to Harriet, Karl, etc. They had two obstacles. Griffin worked in the White House, making the personnel switch problematic, and Congress liked Cummins. White House liaison Monica Goodling, quote, "We have a senator problem. So while the White House is intent on nominating, Rove Deputy Scott Jennings thinks we may have a confirmation issue." Jennings and Goodling endorsed hiring Griffin in some other capacity at the Department of Justice. It did not matter where they parked him, and then install him as an interim U.S. attorney. That resolves both the White House personnel issue and gets him into the office he and the White House want him in. Plus, it helped alleviate the implication that Cummins had been forced out. And the Senate? Sampson suggested they gum this to death. Ask the senators to give Griffin a chance. If they ultimately say no, never, tell them we'll look for other candidates, and otherwise run out the clock. All of this should be done in good faith, of course. Of course.